Alright, so I'm just going to make a quick video talking about the Pegasus World Cup at Gulfstream this weekend. Obviously, you got the two big ones, the Pegasus World Cup run on the dirt and the Pegasus World Cup turf, obviously on the turf. So, there's a few interesting races on there. There's several Group 3s and Group 2s, which I want to talk about. And also at the end, I'm going to talk about Sha Tin as well, because there's two Group 1s there, the Centenary Cup Sprint and the Stewards Cup. So, firstly, I'll start off at Gulfstream. We've got the Christophe Clemente Stakes over a mile and a half. Obviously, condolences to Christophe Clemente's family. He was a legendary trainer in the United States. So, yeah, it's good to have this race in memory of him. Alright, so a mile and a half. It's actually a really good race. There's some really good horses here. Good analysis. But I'm going to go with No Show Sammy Joe. To be fair, yeah, it'll be easier when it's priced up, but I think No Show Sammy Joe will probably be favourite, and I think she'll win. She's carrying a bit less weight than the more proven stayers in this race, but she looked absolutely amazing last start. It was a Gulfstream as well. I remember I was actually going to back her last start, but I was too hungover the morning that she won, so I just didn't back her, and obviously she won by about half the straight, so so that was good to watch. Theon obviously goes very well. I think she's better off sort of over a little bit shorter. Oh no, she's actually won over 2,200 metres. So, yeah, she looks pretty good. Obviously, Flavian Pratt's booked. For me personally, there's about 4 American jockeys that I can actually trust, and he's one of them. But that's why the other horse I'm betting in this race is Venencia, because I'm not relying on an American jockey. I'm relying on Oisin Murphy, who is one of the best jockeys in the world. And also over a mile and a half, you know, he's always going to be better in a staying race. My only little downside with Venencia is that she's carrying joint top weight, which I don't really mind if others are doing that. If it's just one horse carrying like more than everyone else, then I'll immediately put a pen through it. But this horse really thrives over a mile and a half. She obviously didn't run that well last start in the race that No Show Sammy Joe won, but she's won a Group 3 over 2,400 metres, and that's really strong form. So yeah, I'll be on her. I'll be on her and No Show Sammy Joe. I'd imagine, this will be favourite. But if either of them end up like $5 or more, then I'll get on the other one each way. All right, we'll move on to the. Oh, that's right. There's a sprint race over 5 furlongs. Bro, what are we doing here? Cardem, 10-year-old, obviously went around last starting the Hong Kong sprint, and Oisin Murphy lost his irons, and yeah, it was just a hard visual to be fair, hard watch. But yeah, I mean, 10-year-old, not backing it. It's just sort of those good sort of American sprinters. But the one that I'm leaning towards here is Uwish. Edgar Zayas, to be fair, is not one of the jockeys that I trust, but he obviously knows this horse very well. He's ridden it, its last sort of 7 starts. So, I always like to say that when a jockey sticks with a horse for an extended period, he knows the horse inside out. So, yeah, second in a stakes race at the track last start. Actually, he's a specialist at the track. So, yeah, I'm going to go Uwish. I don't know what price it'll be. But I also quite like that, to be fair. If I can make a selection on a horse without a price. Like, obviously, it sucks if you make the selection and it's like $1.10. But, hopefully it's not too short if it is favourite. Obviously, Capola. It has, similar form lines, but, it's drawn terribly. And it's got Irad Ortiz booked who, it's probably a controversial opinion, but I think he rides horses like it's a motorbike. If you look at John Velazquez, who is absolutely an excellent jockey, it's just like day and night. John Velazquez actually rides it like a horse, whereas Irad Ortiz rides it like a motorbike. So, I tend not to back Irad unless he knows the horse. But that's my rant about Irad Ortiz out of the way. The Fred Hooper Stakes, I don't think I've got a bet in this race. It's on the dirt, so just the American dirt race I struggle with a bit. It's a bit different to Meydan. dirt. I mean, it's probably like the same, but it's just different forms. I do a lot better on Meydan than I do on American dirt races. But from what I've seen, this Knightsbridge should probably just go and win. You know, he's won his last few starts. I don't have much to say on this race, to be honest. Then we got the William McKnight Stakes. I think it's another staying race. Yeah, it's a mile and a half, but it's for the geldings and colts. It's an okay race. Obviously, a horse that caught my eye here was Missly Cut, not because I think it'll win, but he's been around the world. I think he started off his career in the UK, then he went to the States. Then I believe he ran in the Hardwick Stakes maybe like year before last. So he's been around the block. I know this Balnikov, I think he was better over a bit shorter. I think 2,000 metres, 1,800 metres is more his distance. Yeah, kind of. I mean, yeah, he's also West Coast trained, so I'm not super excited to back a West Coast horse because you see those races and it's just a small pot of horses running in them. The fields aren't as strong. I'm always looking towards East Coast form, at like Keeneland and those sorts of tracks. So I'm gonna back Ohana Honor. Back to what I was saying before about American jockeys. Flavien Prat he's one of the 4 jockeys that I'll back confidently. He's excellent. I mean, there is a conversation about him on horses that aren't trained by Chad Brown, because if you didn't know, Flavien Prat and Chad Brown, they're like the American equivalent of James McDonald, Chris Waller, Aidan O'Brien, Ryan Moore, that type of thing. Like they're one of the best partnerships in America. But there is a little debate on Flavien Prat and how he does on horses that aren't trained by Chad Brown. But I'm willing to take the risk. I've seen him enough times. I think he's an excellent jockey. The horse is going from 1,800 metres up to 2,400 metres, which I actually quite like. I think if they can stay, and they do it quite a lot in America. They go from a mile to or a mile and 1,800 metres up to 2,400 metres. So I don't mind that. That'll be my bet. I don't know. Obviously, same as before. I don't know what price he'll be, but if he's higher than $5, then I'll have him each way. All right, so I'll move on to the Fillies and Mares Turf. This is an amazing race, actually. There's a lot of horses I could have backed here, but I've narrowed it down to 2. Obviously, you got In Our Time for Resolute Racing. This Awesome Check goes quite well, but it ran over 9 furlongs last start, and I've got this weird thing where I can't back horses going down in troop. Sounds weird, but they never win if they're going down in troop. I mean, you can make a few cases, but even if it's like 100 metres down in troop, I'd rather back a horse going from like 1,400 metres up to 1,800 metres, or 7 furlongs up to 8 furlongs, that sort of thing. They're just like logically they're just easier to back. So I've narrowed it down to 2 here. I've got obviously the boy Oisin Murphy. He's had a few like good moments in the States in the past. Obviously, recently he rode Valentina in the Juvenile Fillies Turf. So he does get results in the US, and obviously he's riding Breathe Away here for his retainer Qatar Racing. So I had a look at her form. Ran 4th in a Group 1 last start, 3rd in a Group, second in a Group 3 on Breeders' Cup weekend, and she's got a win over Caitlin Her Greatness, who is also in this race. So I think this horse is a really obvious bet. And the other one's Classic Q as well. I think she came 3rd last start to a really good horse in Lush Lips, who's I think she's a Group 1 winner. I think she might have won like that, or it might be a Group 2. It was like quite a big race at Keeneland for the Fillies and Mares. But yeah, Jose Ortiz is a brilliant jockey, far better than Irad Ortiz. I don't know if they're cousins or brothers, but Jose Ortiz is a world class jockey. He's very good. So I obviously don't know what prices they'll be. I think Classic Q might start a bit shorter, but they're my 2 picks. There's a few others you can make cases for, but a lot of them are coming from a form line where it's like 9 furlongs or 10 furlongs back to 1700 meters. So yeah, I just don't like that particularly. Yeah, I don't really want to talk about this race, to be honest. It's not, it's a Group 2 on the dirt for it's fillies and mares over 7 furlongs. It just it doesn't excite me that much. All right, now we get on to the good stuff. We'll start off on the Pegasus World Cup turf. They say it's an invitational, but I'm sure you can just enter for it. Love when they say that and you just fucking enter for it. This is, great race. Obviously, test score. I think he had a jockey change. He's had a different jockey his last 2 starts, and he got absolutely fried last start by Juan Hernandez. So, obviously, Manny Franco's back on board, who has gotten okay results with him in the past. But, same thing. My trust of American jockeys is very little. So, probably can't back him off that. I'm just going to go with the favourite here, to be honest, Program Trading. He's the only one that comes from, proper Group 1 races. Ran second in the Cornwall Turf Mile. Obviously, fell apart a bit in the Breeders' Cup Mile, but that was a really hard race. Obviously, won by an absolute, legend in Notable Speech. Flavian Pratt booked. He knows the horse inside out. As I touched on before, Chad Brown, Flavian Pratt is something you just, you want to bet on. David Egan on Beach Gold. Good to see that he's riding in the States. I reckon he's actually an underrated jockey. He's very good on the UK scene. It just sucks he's tied down to all the ammo horses because there's not very many good ones of them. But no, that's a bit harsh. There was that one they've got with Qatar Racing. I forget what it's called. It won the Mayhill Stakes. I forget what it is. It's the Chestnut filly 2-year-old. That's all you need to know. You know what it is. But what else in this race? You got obviously Carbo Spirit. He's just getting on a bit. He's a 7-year-old now, and as I said, I don't really fancy those West Coast trained horses unless they're really good. Major Dude goes alright, but he's booked. But it's a good race. But I think Program Trading is going to be too good. Just carries a much better form line, and it's very easy to put the pen through its last start in the Breeders' Cup Mile. So, all right, we'll move on to the big one. I remember back in the day, this race, the Pegasus World Cup, it had a stupid amount of prize money on it. I think when Gunrunner won it in 2017 or 2018, he won £5 million, or obviously 10 million Australian. It was worth a ridiculous amount, and obviously the prize money's fallen out of it a little bit. So we're not seeing these absolutely generational dirt horses lining up. Maybe back in 2017 you might have seen Sovereignty, that sort of horse, obviously with Gunrunner, and I think Arrogate won it as well. So this year we got this Disco Time as the favourite. I can't really back it. Obviously, Flavian Pratt booked, which is a positive, but it won a listed race very well. But it's just it could win, but it also could not. Good analysis. But and also Barrier 1 as well, and there's dirt races, especially on the dirt at Gulfstream over 1800 meters. Because it's the corner comes up pretty fast. If you get trapped there, you're gonna face a lot of kickback. So I'm looking away from the favourite. Skippy Longstocking's been around for a long time. One of the most stupid names for a horse, but he goes very well. Although kind of isn't really a Group 1 horse. It's won plenty of Group 2s and Group 3s, but just lacks that sort of that class to get to the top level. And then you got some 4-year-olds, who went that sort of Kentucky Derby route. And this one's interesting as well. White Barrio. Got to be the classiest horse in the field. Won the Breeders' Cup Classic. Won this race last year, actually. So, obviously goes very well at Gulfstream. I think I heard that it's had 10 starts at Gulfstream and for 8 wins, which is a ridiculous record. But for me personally, with Irad, I shit on him, but this is one of the times I would back him on a horse because he knows the horse inside out. Obviously won those big races on him. But the horse is 7 and he's drawn Barrier 11, which I just don't like. And he's not going that well either, 4th in his last 3 starts, so I'm going to look away from him. The horse that I'm looking at here is quite left of centre, and he's a massive price as well. Captain Cook, John Velasquez, he's the best American jockey for me. I've had a lot of winners with him, and he's just a nice rider. Like, he rides it like a horse. He actually understands the horse. And yeah, I mean, there is a lot of question marks. You can see that in the price. He got beaten a long way in his last start, and he's also had a few months off. So yeah, I'll definitely be having a half stake bet on him at 33-1. But he does have that sort of form. He's if John Velasquez wasn't riding, I probably wouldn't be backing, to be fair. But he's got that sort of decent Group 1, Group 2, Group 3 form. I'll happily get involved at 33-1. I think he's a massive price. So yeah, hopefully he ends a good sort of weekend of racing. It's an amazing weekend of racing coming up with Meydan and obviously Gulfstream. And to top it off, on Sunday afternoon we got Sha Tin. Not much value here, to be honest. You've got Ka Ying Rising going for Silent Witnesses. I think it's his consecutive wins record of 17. So he should just do that without getting off the bridle. I think Fast Network is he's a very good horse, but yeah, obviously won't get near the favourite. But I also saw the other day that Fast Network was among the entries for the Alquoz Sprint. And I remember last year, How Deep is Your Love, sorry, condolences, was like really hot for that race. And the year before, California Spangle won the race. So these Hong Kong sprinters, if they get targeted at this Alquoz Sprint, because I know Ka Ying's not going to go there, there could be a good betting angle. Like, yeah, I think How Deep Is Your Love, I got on it at like $9 last year, and it went off at about $4.50. So yeah, I'm going to be having a look at Fast Network for the Alquoz Sprint. And then there's the Stewards Cup. Let me find it. It's annoying how the Racing Post doesn't have like the drop down thing that at the races has. However, yeah, obviously a mile at Sha Tin. Lucky Swayness is in there, still going around. Obviously Voyage Bubble won the Hong Kong mile. But yeah, I think, to be fair, Romantic Warrior over a mile at 8 years old, like, I get this is going to come out looking stupid if he wins, but he might be vulnerable here. Yeah, back to a mile. It's a sharp race. I think I'm actually going to have an each way bet on Galaxy Patch. Maxime Guillon's an excellent jockey, obviously coming off a bit of success here earlier or at the end of last year, winning the Hong Kong Vars on Soci. So I think Galaxy Patch is probably a good each way bet. Red Lion's going well, but 7 years old, getting on a bit. And also, what's going on there? Why is Ferrari's not riding My Wish? That's bizarre to me. I don't think Alexis Badel's all that. Yeah, that's bizarre. Because I would have had My Wish if Ferrari's was riding. But I think, I'll probably just have an each way bet on Galaxy Patch. In case this mile does come up a bit sharp for Romantic Warrior. Alright, so that should be it. That should be it for this video. It's obviously, as I said before, it's a great weekend of racing, and hopefully a few winners can be found, because I haven't actually had a proper good betting go for a while. There just hasn't been much racing on. So yeah, if you like this type of thing, like and subscribe. I get quite excited about these race meetings. So yeah, it's good that I've made this and I can talk about it, for 10 minutes, 20 minutes, that sort of thing. So yeah, like and subscribe if you like this type of thing. See you later.